Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
How are you this evening? Hello?
Very good, sir.
Can you hear me? Don't be silent. If you share with you, don't be silent. It's not good. Yeah. Because lecturer it's you because of the listening. Be it someone else with you, if you dance, it's not better. But every lecture with you, you must answer the greetings, right? Yeah. If your parent with you, will you answer?
Yes.
Yes. So why the student never answer? Or some student, if you student answer my greeting, why?
I think because the connection, sir.
No, I'm not sure. Only one answer my greeting. So do all only one or two students. Well, so where are the 20th student? I'm not sure. Only two student answer, and the other student have that signer. No, I'm not sure of that. So that. So it is a bad habit to not to answer the lecture greeting. Yeah. Yeah. It's not good. Yeah. Yeah. The lecture will so sometimes the lecture will will not be good to you because of your attitude. You don't answer the lecture greetings, right? So don't keep silent when your lecture give you greeting because it is good, yeah. Greeting is not bad. Greeting is good, yeah. Yeah, greeting is good. So I say good morning, good evening. It's good, yeah. Not bad evening, yeah. I never say bad evening. If the student know, I say good evening, not bad evening. But when I say bad evening, you don't answer my greetings, right? Yeah, you understand? So you must know
Yes,
the way how to attend. Yeah. So when you must answer your every lecture greeting, not only me, your every lecture. So what happen if the lecture with you and the lecture is not the lecture is not answered? So I think they will be angry. So right? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, and every religion also teach you. Yeah, and especially the Muslim people. When the Muslim people greet the Muslim people, so they must answer the Muslim greetings. So right? Yes, for the Muslim. Yeah, yeah. So you must. I look at you every meeting like this. Only some of you answer the meeting and some you don't. So if you don't like the if you don't decide, it doesn't matter. But you must answer the meeting. So right? I have given you understanding. So right? The understanding of you, understand you. So if you don't open camera, it's okay. So right? So if you study in Japan, maybe so all of you must be on camera. So right? Yeah. But I understand you, and you must understand the lecture, so right? Yeah. Understand the lecture. Yeah. So when you attend the lecture, what you do? You must attend the lecture every meeting, so that, and then you must do the assignment, subject assignment, and you must also submit your examination, yeah, and you must midterm examination and final term examination. So what happens if you don't submit your midterm examination? What's for? Do you attend the lecture? Is the question, right? Is the question. What's for you attend the lecture? And you must be active, not only two persons, yeah, active. It means that the other student don't read the article. Yeah. I conclude that most of the students don't read the article, so you don't be active. Yeah, so you must be active. Okay, so this evening we are going to talk about leadership, yeah, leadership style. Yeah. I think we used to talk about this, yeah. I used to give you the questionnaire, yeah, in group, WhatsApp group, yeah, how to identify the leadership style, yeah, and you must answer the question, and you must fill the question, answer the question, and you can know what your style of leadership, yeah. So I also I have posted the question on WhatsApp this morning, that when you give the opening comment, so you must explain something, what you know something about the leadership, yeah. It's on my question. So it means that you must read the article, not only the presenters, right? Yeah, it's a bad habit if you know that the presenter is this and you don't read. It's not good, yeah, right? So you must have one another, yeah. So must read the article too. Okay, so when we start our lectures as usual, so you must give the opening comment, say your greeting. I also take the student of EIN, yeah. I take marketing in IEN, Syariah marketing, Islamic marketing in IEN. Yeah, so every meeting, so they must say the Muslim greeting, and they must pray before studying, correct? And then I take discussion, so all of them must answer my question and discuss together. Yeah, so I teach also marketing in EIN, but in Untan I teach human resource management, but in EIN I teach Islamic marketing. So especially the Muslim student, yeah. So I use the Quran and Hadith to teach the Islamic marketing and discuss together with the student about marketing in Islam. What about marketing in Islam? Yeah, like that. Yeah. So every student must give the opening comment, give and then the message salawat, and then the opening, the Islamic opening, like that, etc. And then when later is ended, so they must pray to God, one student by one student. This my habit, yeah. So it's a custom, yeah. Everything must be prayed first. Okay, please from Desi. Please from Desi. Desi. Is Desi in? No. Stephanie?
Okay, good evening, everyone. So I should know that today we will about leadership. So I shared that I already mentioned in the group that what is the meaning of each of leadership style, and then what is the difference and advantage of disadvantage of each leadership styles. And so I just talk it right now. As I know, there is a five of type of leadership styles. There is authoritarian leaderships, participative leaderships, delegative leaderships, transactional leadership, and also transformational leaderships. And there is the five types of leadership styles. And for the authoritarian leaderships, it is like the style who allow a leader to impose the expectation and define on outcomes. And then this authoritarian leadership style is also used when the team members need a clear guidelines. For the advantage of these leadership styles, it is like you can time spent on making crucial decisions and can be reduced, and then change of comment can be clearly emphasized, and then mistake in the implementation of plans can be reduced, and also using authoritarian leadership styles can create consistent results. And then for disadvantage, a very strict leadership styles, and then it will be like a kill employees of the creativity and also innovations, and it reduce group synergy or collaborations, and um, this authoritarian leadership can increase the turnover rate. And then the next is about the participative leadership. It is like a root democratic theory. So this essence is to involve team members in decision-making process. And for the advantage of the leadership, this participative leadership style is, of course, it increases employees' motivations and job satisfactions. And then it's encouraged use of employee creativity, and also it helps to a better creation of and strong team. And then, of course, the high level of productivity and can be achieved. For disadvantage, it can be like they will have more time to discuss and discussions, so it's really not efficient. And then communication, sometimes there will be a lot of miscommunications, and yes, sometimes there is a security issues between among of the team, like that. And then the third is delegative leaderships. It is like a leadership style that focus on delegating and initiative team members. And this can be successful strategy if team members are competent and also take responsibility of each the role. And the advantage of this leadership is like experienced employees and can take advantage of their competence and experience. And then, of course, they get the innovations and creativity highly valued, that it's different from the others employees. And then, of course, delegative leadership create a positive work environment. And then for the disadvantage is only a two, like they can command responsibility is not properly defined. And then delegative leaderships create a difficulty in adapting on change, like that. And then for the transactional leadership style is like between a leader and his followers. For the advantage is leader can create a specific strategy and time bound, and then yes, employee can motivate and productivity is really increased. But the disadvantage is like empathy sometimes is really cannot be servable, and also transactional leaderships create more followers than leaders, and it's really not good for sustainable of the leaderships. And then the last is transformational leadership. It is like leaders that inspire their followers. For the advantage is like it can lead to lower employees and turnover rate, and also it can place a high value on corporate visions, and then it is use motivations and inspirations to gain the support of employees. But the disadvantage is, yes, like leaders can deceive the employees, and consistent motivation and constant feedback may be required, and then tasks can be pushed through without the agreement of employees, like that, sir. I think that's all for my opening comment about the leadership style.
Okay, good. And then Uni Penawati.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and good evening, sir. My voice is very clear.
Clear.
Okay. Here again, we meet on today organizational behavior class, and I would like to introduce myself again. My name is Uni Penawati, and I am very happy to see you again, guys, in a good condition. Today, I'm taking this class because I hope I will get new insight into the leadership that can be useful for my life now and in the future my life. As we know, leadership have many styles. But before I mention the style of leadership, I want to you guys remember what Say Guru said in his video on YouTube with the title "What Does Separate Between Leadership and Manager?" The biggest problem with so-called leader of the day is we are not producing leaders. We are just making a manager and supervisor. Some people come up as a leader and they super every moment of their life. And this is a reason leadership doesn't come because of ambition. A leadership is about the ability of an individual or a group of individuals to influence and guide guidance followers or other member of an organization. Leadership involves making sound and sometimes tricky decisions, creating and articulating a clear vision, establishing achievable goals, and providing followers with the knowledge and tools necessary to achieve those goals. Leaders are found and required in most aspects of society, from business to politics, to region to community and basic organization. Furthermore, the five leadership style, there is authoritarian leadership, and the second is a participative leadership, and the third is the delegative leadership, and the fourth is the transactional leadership, and the last is a transformational leadership. And what is the authoritarian leadership? Authoritarian leadership is an autocratic leader, and they can provide a clear expectation for what, when, and how they need it should do. This is style of a leadership is a strongly focused on both command by the leader and control of the followers. There is also a clear division between the leader and the member. Authoritarian leaders make a decision independently because a leader imposes expectation and define outcomes. The research found that the decision making was less creative under authoritarian leadership. And as Levin also concluded that it is harder to move from authoritarian style to democratic style or participative style than vice versa. Abuse of this method is usually viewed as controlling, bossy, and dictatorial. Authoritarian leadership is best applied to situations with little time for good decision making, or the leader is the most knowledgeable member. The autocratic approach can be a good one when the situation occurs for rapid decision and decisive action. The authoritarian leadership style is also used when the team members need clear guidelines, but however, is a great dysfunctional and even hostile environment, often pitting followers against the authoritarian leader. And the advantage of this style is a time spent on making crucial decisions can be reduced, and the chance of comment can be clearly emphasized, and mistake in the implementation of plan can be reduced, and using of an authoritarian leadership style create a consistent result. And the disadvantage of this style is a rigorous leadership style can sometimes lead to employee rebellion, and it kills employees' creative and innovation, and it reduces group synergy and collaboration. And the second is a participative leadership. We also know this style is a democratic leadership. According to Levin's study, this leadership is a typical of the most effective leadership style. And why? Because this style over guidance to their group member, and still they also give participant chance, like allowing member to provide opinion and accept opinion from the other group member. In the Levin study, people in this group with a participant or democratic leadership were less productive than the member of the authoritarian group. Still, there is contribution to the group were of a higher quality. Participative leaders encourage their group members to participate in the discussion and encourage the member to take action. And the leader will generally have the last word in the decision-making process. But if there are disagreement, it can be take a time-consuming process to reach the consensus. With this leadership style, group members can feel engaging and more motivated and creative to work together with the other members in the group. And democratic leadership tend to make their followers feel like they are a very essential part of the team, which is will have fosters group member commitment to the group goals. And the advantage of this style is it is great. It is increased employee motivation and job satisfaction, and it encourage the use of employee creative and a participant leadership style help in the creation of strong team, and a high level of productivity can be achieved. And the disadvantage of this group is the decision-making process become time-consuming. Leaders have a high probability of being apologetic to employees, and communication failure can sometimes happen, and security issue can arise because of transparency in information sharing. And the third is a delegative leadership. We also know this is a licensed leadership, which is a focus on delegating initiative of team member. And Coding Lewin study found that people under this style we are the less productive of all three groups. The people in this group tended to make more demand on the leader, show little cooperation, and we are unable to work independent. And delegative leaders offer little or no guidance to group member and leave the decision making to up the member of group. This can be success strategy if the team members are competent, take responsibility, and prefer changing in individual work. While this style can be helpful in situations involving highly quality expert, I'm sorry, it often leads to poorly defined role and lack of motivation. And the advantage of this style is experience employee can take advantage of their competency and experience. And the disadvantage of this is a common responsibility is not defined correctly. And the fourth is a transactional leadership. In the transactional leadership style, the leader and followers view the relationship as a transaction of reward, punishment, and the other actions to get their job done. And the advantage of this leader creates specific, measurable, and time-bound goals that are achievable for employees. And the disadvantage of this is innovation and creativity is minimized. And the last is a transformational leadership is often identified as the single most effective style. This style was first described during the late 1970s and later expanded upon by research Bernard M. Bass. Transformational leaders can motivate and inspire followers and direct positive change in group because the leader serves as a role as a role model for the division. And the advantage of this model or the style is it led to lower employee turnover rate. And the disadvantage of this style is a leader can divide employee. I'm sorry guys, it's very takes so long time. I think that's all my opening comment. And good luck for today's presenter. And thank you for Sir Adi has given us the opportunity to give opening comment. Thank you.
Sorry, sir, your mic still off.
Sorry, my microphone is off ya. Okay, so jadi Mati has given long comment ya. It's good, very good. Yeah, but we can end our lecture at 9 o'clock. So if you give too long comments, sir, comment too long, sir. Good comment. Yeah. So it's where you can master the leadership style. Yeah. Okay, please, Panasayan.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Kanesayan. I joined this class today because I found out today's topic is very interesting and important for me to upgrading myself. So I will explain the 5 different categories of leadership. The first is authoritarian leadership. It is enable a leader to set the goals and set expectation in cases where a leader is the most knowledgeable member of the team. He is the one person show can be successful. And then although this is an efficient strategy in time constraint periods, creativity will be sacrificed since the input of the team is limited. The advantage of this authoritarian leadership is a reduced time spent on making crucial decisions, reduce mistakes in implementation of plans, and then the disadvantage is it kills employees' creativity and innovation, and it reduces group synergy and collaboration. The second is participative leadership. It is rooted in democratic theory. The goal is to have the team members participate in decision making. As a result, the team members feel included, engaged, and inspired. So the advantage of this participative leadership is it increases employees' motivation and job satisfaction. It also encourages use of the employees' creativity and is be able to create a strong team. But it also has the disadvantage, such as the decision-making process become time-consuming and poor decision can be made if the employees are unskilled. The third one is delegative leadership, which is focuses on delegating initiative to members. This can be a successful strategy if the members are competent, take responsibility, and prefer engaging in individual work. The advantage of this delegative leadership is innovation and creativity is highly valued, and experienced employee can take advantage of their competence and experience. But it also has the disadvantage, such as common responsibility is not properly defined, and delegative leadership creates difficulty in adapting to a change. And then the fourth is transactional leadership, which the leader sets the goals and the team members know how they will be rewarded. The advantage is leadership creates specific, measurable, and time-bound goals that are achievable for employees. And then the last one is in transformational leadership. The leader inspires his or her followers with a vision and then encourage and empowers the employees to achieve it. The leaders also serve as a role model for the vision. The advantage is it uses motivation and inspiration to gain the support of the employees. And the disadvantage is the task cannot be pushed through without the agreement of the employees. I think that's all from my opening comments, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So this way I will appoint 10 students here to give comment, and then after that I continue to after that we can watch this group presentation, and after the group presentation is over we continue again to the student comment. Yeah. Okay. So there are 7 students more. Okay. Arsawayuni.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, Sir Adi, and also all of my friends. So today I'm joining the class because I want to see my friend's presentation that will be solely for chapter 12 about leadership. And for leadership, there are 5 types of leadership. There are first, authoritarian leadership, that is considered a leadership style that bases everything on the power possessed by a leader. This leadership has a role as a supervisor for all activities carried out by its members and provides a way out if members experience problem. That is, members only need to carry out what is decided by a leader. And the advantage of this leadership is decision can be made quickly because it is the absolute right of the leader. So there's no objection for subordinates. And for disadvantage, subordinates will feel pressure because if there is a difference of opinion, the leader will regard it as defiance. And second one, participative leadership. This is a leader who involves subordinate in decision making. The advantage is pays more attention to subordinate to achieve organizational goals. And for this advantage, the decision making process will take more time. The third one is delegative leadership. Delegative of leadership authority to subordinates in an organization with the hope that the task can be accounted for and completed on time and doesn't conflict with the goals to be achieved. The advantage of this leadership is open opportunities for individuals to develop themselves. And for the disadvantage, the leader has limited control. And the fourth one is transactional leadership. It is where a leader is more likely to provide direction to his subordinates and incentivize and punish their performance and focus on behavior to guide followers. The advantage is provides a clear workflow for the system of repetitive work patterns. And this advantage is possibly members are motivated by the rewards offered and not to make the group or company better. And the last one is transformational leadership. It is the leadership style a manager uses when he wants to achieve an entirely new set of organizational goals. The advantage is the cost is efficient, so the company will get maximum profit. And the disadvantage is implementation is quite difficult with a very large number of employees. That's all from me, sir. Thank you.
Cristobal.
Good evening, everyone, and good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So we will today is learn about leadership. So now I will only read my answer. Okay. So I'm so sorry if my eyes is not in camera. Throughout history, the great leader have emerged with a particular style of leadership in providing direction, exceeding plan, and motivation people. This can be grouped into the different categories. This first is leadership style or expectation and determine result. The offense is a time spent making important decision can be reduced, and this is a very strict leader style can sometimes lead to employees rebellion. The two is the participative leadership style. It's a leader involving team member in decision-making process. Advantage is it increases employees' motivation and job satisfaction. Disadvantage is decision-making process becomes time-consuming. It's a three is delegative leadership style. It's a leader who focus on delegating initiative to the team member. Advantage, experienced employees can take offense of their competence and experience. Disadvantage is command responsible are not defined properly. Is a style for the transactional leadership style is a leader who has a transaction between a leader and follower through reward, punishment, and through a chance to get to the job done. A fantastic leader creates a specific, measurable, and time-bound goals that employees can achieve. A disadvantage is innovation and creativity are minimized. The style 5, the transformational leadership style is a leader who inspires follower with vision, then encourage and empower them to achieve it. A fantastic is a leader to lower employees turnover rate. Disadvantage is leader can decide employees. That is all my conclusions. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Wila Sheola Indonesia.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Wila. So today, as usual, we will learn another material from organizational behavior. We will see our friend's presentation about chapter 12, leadership. So there are 5 types of leadership. First, there is authoritarian leadership. It is a leadership style in which the leader enforces strict obedience and demands obedience without questions. And this type of leaders feel success as coming from themselves. So this leadership style is often considered negative because it sacrifices personal freedom. However, this also have a positive impact because it can be effective for several situations, such as the organization is experiencing a crisis and requires firm guidance from the leader. And the second one is participative leadership. It is a leadership style in which a leader involves his or her team members to discuss with each other in finding or making a decision. So this leadership style encourages team members to get involved in a problem or in a certain circumstances. And in general, the participative leadership style provides opportunity for team members to develop. But this type of leadership also have some drawback, like the decision making will be very long and ineffective, and also there is a disagreement during the decision making process. And the third one is the delegative leadership style. So it is a type of where the leader prefers to take a back seat to their team when making a decision. So some of the advantages of these leadership styles are this leader allow the direct reports to make the decision that would normally be the responsibility of the leader. And the drawback of this leadership is that the leader sometimes unconcerned about the cohesiveness. And the fourth one is the transactional leadership. So it is a leadership style in which the leader uses the reward and punishment to encourage the subordinate compliance. And it is also known as the managerial leadership. And the positive impact of this leadership style is there is a clearer direction, it is consistent, and it is timely results. However, there is also a drawback like a rigid, passive work environment, and also there is a low innovation and creativity. And the last one is transformational leadership. It is a leadership style that identifies the changes needed, develop a vision that will pave the way for the changes to be met. So the advantage of the transformational leadership style is that it lowering the turnover cost and binding people as a whole, while the weaknesses is that it has to keep in touch and it requires the consistent feedback. That's all for me. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Felia, Teresa.
Okay, so good evening, sir, and good evening, everyone. Today I'm going to give my opening comment related to the question that sir have given. So the first one I'm going to explain is authoritarian leadership, which is a management style in which an individual has total decision-making power and absolute control over his subordinates. The advantages of this leadership style is it reduces the time needed to make decisions, it creates the clarity within the chain of command. And then the disadvantages is it may cause some employees to rebel, and it creates moment of insecurity within the leadership. And then the second one is participative leadership, which is a style of leadership in which all members of the organization work together to make decisions. The advantages is teams more readily accept the decisions and then improve employee retention. And then the disadvantages is increase the likelihood of conflict, and then it requires employee participation. And then the third one is delegative leadership. It's a type of leadership style in which leaders are hands-off and allow group members to make decisions. The advantages is it increases the personal growth and it encourages the innovations. But the disadvantages is poor involvement with the group and lack of role clarity. The fourth one is transactional leadership. It involves motivating and directing followers primarily through appealing to their own self-interest. The advantages is employee can see their impact on the business and it can create a sense of fairness. The disadvantages is difficult to find rewards that motivate all employees and poor leadership development. The last but not least one is transformational leadership, which occurs when leaders perform their roles so effectively that they gain the trust, respect, appreciation, and loyalty of the people who follow them. The advantages is it reduces turnover costs and it creates and manages change. But the disadvantages is can lead to employee burnout and can be risky and disruptive. That's all for my opening comment. Thank you, sir, and thank you, everyone.
Tiffany.
Okay, so good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. And I will just write into the opening comment. An authoritarian leadership, also known as autocratic leadership, is a management style in which an individual has total decision-making, power, and absolute control over his subordinates.
Advantages are it produces consistent result in small group situation, and also it reduces the time needed to make decision. Meanwhile, the disadvantages are it may cause some employee to rebel, and it reduces the amount of group input received. And participative leadership is a style of leadership in which all members of the organization work together to make decisions. Advantages are participative leadership improves morale. If people know they will be heard, they are more likely to contribute and feel like their contribution is valued. This is a fundamental requisite for happy and motivated workforce. And the disadvantages are inhibit swift decision making, since participative managers want each team member to weigh in on the situation at hand. It can lengthen the decision making process and increase the likelihood of conflict. And the third is delegating leadership style is a low task and relationship behavior approach to leadership where a leader empowers an individual to exercise autonomy. Advantages are gives you the time and ability to focus on higher level tasks, give others the ability to learn and develop new skills, also develops trust between workers and improves communication. Meanwhile, the disadvantages are moral issues. Delegations can be a tricky issue for the employee to whom the delegation is being made, and delegation could lead to confusion and inefficiency. The fourth one is transactional leadership is most often compared to transformational leadership. Transactional leadership depends on self-motivated people who work well in a structured, directed environment. The advantages are it eliminates confusion within the chain of command, and also a transactional leadership style creates a clear chain of command that is easily recognized by the entire team. Meanwhile, the disadvantages are discourage creativity. Transactional leaders could punish their staff for not meeting their goals and do not leave any room for failure or creativity. And by contrast, transformational leadership seeks to motivate and inspire workers, choosing to influence rather than direct others. Advantages are a transformational leader does more than just work towards a final goal or vision. Meanwhile, disadvantages are transactional leadership is its practice of providing the task to employee along with their policies and principles to be strictly followed. If and when something goes wrong in the process, employees are the ones to be blamed and who are responsible for the outcome. That is all for my opening comment. Thank you.
Okay, Putih Hermania.
So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, sir and everyone. So, it is my turn to give the opening comment. So, there are several types of leadership styles. So, the first is Authoritarian leadership, also known as Autocratic leadership, is a management style in which an individual has total decision-making power and absolute control over his subordinates. And then the second, Participative leadership, is a style of leadership in which all members of the organization work together to make decisions. And the third is Delegative leadership, is focused on delegating initiative to team members. So this can be a successful strategy if the members are competent, take responsibility, and prefer engaging in individual work. And the fourth is transactional leadership, also known as managerial leadership, focus on the role of supervision, organization, and group performance. And the fifth is transformational leadership is defined as a leadership approach that causes change in individuals and social systems. And the meaning of each leadership style mentioned is a leadership style refers to a leadership characteristic behavior when directing, motivating, guiding, and managing groups of people. So great leaders can inspire political movement and social change. They can also motivate others to perform, create, and innovate. And the differences between the different leadership approach is defined how leaders direct the work of group of individuals and refers to the action leaders to take gather input from subordinates, make decisions, solve problems, and review the result. In contrast, leadership traits describe the personality types of successful leaders. And to save the times, I will summarize the advantage and disadvantage of style of leadership. So the advantage, different ideas are shared easily among one another. So the type of leadership is highly effective and productive. Interest and morale of the employee towards the work increases.
And for this advantage, difficult to maintain the coordination among the group, agree and disagree on particular topic may lead to communication GAP, changes to getting poor ideas from unskilled members. So that's from me. Thank you, sir.
Once more, Delviana Sukma.
Okay, good evening, sir. So I will explain about the leadership style. Leadership style divided into 5. There are authoritarian leadership, participative leadership, delegative leadership, transactional, and transformational leadership. So first, authoritarian leadership refers to any situation where a leader keeps hold of as much power and authority as possible. Using an authoritarian leadership style for its consistent result and the time spent making important decisions can be reduced. This authoritarian leadership style increases the turnover rate of employees. And the second one is participate leadership. It's a style of leadership in which all members of the organization work together to make decisions. The participate leadership style helps to create a strong team, but unfortunately, the decision-making process of this leadership style takes a lot of time. And the third one is delegative leadership. It's about empowering employees to make decisions and then carry them out. Delegative leadership creates a positive environment, but delegative leadership also creates difficulty in adapting to change. And next is transactional leadership is defined by control, organization, and short-term planning. Leaders who adopt this style rely on a system of reward and punishment to motivate their followers. The advantage is that employee motivation and productivity is increased. The disadvantage of this leadership style is ineffective creativity of employee is minimized. And the last one is transformational leadership. Is a leadership style that can inspire positive change in those who follow. They are also focused on helping every member of the group success as well. However, transformational leadership can sometimes lead to protocol and regulatory deficient. So that's all my opening comments. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so now we continue our we come to the presentation first, yeah. So the group is Felia, yeah. Sabina Felia, yeah. And who is your friend? Who is your group? Who is the member of your group?
Elfie and Julia, but Uni will help us to present our PowerPoint.
Who?
Uni Pinawati.
Tipini.
Uni.
Uni Pinawati.
Yes.
Will the co-host, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Where is Uni? Oh yeah, Uni, yeah. Uni. Can you hear me, Uni? Okay. Okay, I have made Uni the co-host. Please, this is your time to present your topic. Please, Felia, ask your friend to present the PowerPoint. Is there any problem?
Wait, sir.
Okay, please.
So good evening, everyone. So today, Group 11, we are present about our material about leadership. So from classical leadership to more contemporary styles, the history of leadership is fast and ever-changing. The professional and public worlds are in a constant state of flux, and leaders that are not willing or able to navigate through change and new ideas are not going to last long. Not all leaders lead the same. In part of their own personality and perspective, they are unique as each of the employees, and they carry their own strength and weakness, like anybody else. Leadership styles likewise are varied and unique in their own traits. It is only the very basic qualities of leadership that are universal, and different circumstances require different kinds of leaders. In order for an organization to determine what style of leadership they need, they have to understand what is involved with each type. Choosing a particular style often works best by determining what traits are missing or necessary for the group to function, and applying the style that best fits. The more common style of leadership that are found in organizational behavior and business include: first, before we go deep into the material today, let's look at the differences between leaders and managers. Okay. A leader is someone who people follow, or someone who guides or directs others. A manager is someone who is responsible for direction and controlling the work and staff in an organization or of a department within it. The main difference between the two is that leaders work by example, while a manager dictates expectation. If a manager goes against the rules, that will tarnish his position as a manager. If a leader goes against the example he or she trying to set, that will be seen as a setback. Following are a few subtle differences between the two. Next, Yuna. Can you back to the previous slide? Okay, so following are a few subtle differences between the two. First, a leader is an innovator and creator, whereas manager is a commander. A leader cannot be manager, but opposite is possible. A manager is more than a leader. Next is a leader does what is right, while manager makes things right. And next is a leader deals with change, whereas a manager plans for a change. And next is a leader gives direction to the something, whereas a manager plans for everything that is to be done. And a leader encourages people, whereas the manager controls people. And the last one is a leader handles communication, credibility, and empowerment, whereas a manager deals with organizing and staffing. Next slide. So what is leadership? As states, leadership is what keeps a firm or company or organization and its employees in motion. It is the leaders that set the tone, keep things functioning, as they are the ones that establish the defining characteristic of a firm or company or organization and tie together all of its components. Their action as a leader set the tone of the firm or company and determine what path it will take in society. The major decisions, the kind that are big, life-changing moves that alter the fate of the group and its members, are reserved for those in position of leadership. Their action can shape the entire dynamics of the organization, affecting morale, motivation, action, and the behavior amongst their employees. It can be a lot of responsibility, and leadership roles are not something to be handled or given lightly. In organizational behavior, leadership is an adaptable force that is constantly in motion. When the behavior and culture of an organization change or shift, the leadership changes along with it. Often, this is because the leadership was catalyst of the change and not adapting to the new set of the group up for failure. Many people have witnessed or experienced an instant of leadership that refuses to change and adapt with the time or business and brought the whole thing down with their stubbornness. It can be a life or death situation in some cases. Healthy defined leadership equals a healthy organization. Next. Okay, next is leadership styles. From classical leadership to more contemporary style, the history of leadership is fast and ever-changing. The professional and public worlds are in constant state of flux, and leaders that are not willing or able to navigate through the change and new ideas are not going to last long. Not all leaders lead the same in part to their own personality and perspective. They are unique as each of their employees, and they carry their own strength and weakness like anybody else. Leadership styles, likewise, are varied and unique in their own traits. It is only the very basic qualities of leadership that are universal, and different circumstances require different kind of leaders. In order for an organization to determine what style of leadership they have to understand what is involved with each type. Choosing a particular style often works best by determining what traits are missing or necessary for the group to function, and applying the style that best fits. The more common style of leadership that are found in organizational behavior and business include: first, autocratic. A classical leadership style, autocratic leaders are fairly common. It fits the general idea that people have for a leader, an authoritarian, decision-based, powerful, and solo operating force. These are the leaders that guide the business based on their own abilities without seeking input from others. Strong classical leaders can be best in business that have smaller hierarchy or need closer supervision. Unfortunately, classical autocratic leadership can be incredibly toxic because it's a single person who is in control with absolute power. And the second is laissez-faire, also referred as delegative. Laissez-faire leadership is style that prompts employees to have more control in making decisions. It's a less hands-on approach where leaders don't lead in traditional sense, but instead act as a resource for the group and are held responsible for their action. A lot of organizations with self-sustained and independent employees tend to go for a laissez-faire approach. As they tend to be more autonomous and not in need of intense leadership, it can be a poor choice in groups that lacks the proper knowledge and experience to operate on their own. Since those organizations tend to need stronger guidance and to stay productive. Misjudge the abilities or behavior of the employees, and laissez-faire leadership can backfire for an organization. The next slide will be explained by Felia.
Okay, thank you, Delphi. Next slide, please. Okay. Next is transactional. Transactional leadership tends to focus more on performance and results than anything else. These leaders are goal-oriented and are fond of reward and punishment systems of guidance. A lot of workplaces follow this through things like bonuses and position promotions for successful productivity, and demotions and penalties for poor productivity. Companies that struggle to stay on track in their work may benefit from transactional leadership, as it could keep them focused and prevent distractions. Next is participative. As the name suggests, participative leaders are more likely to be acting alongside their employees as a peer. They follow a more democratic format and will frequently seek out and encourage feedback and contribution from employees. Staff members tend to like participatory leaders more since they tend to be more interactive and make their employees feel like valued members of the group. As beneficial as this may be, it seems to pose some issues when quick decisions are needed on large scale. Next is transformational, a style that is complementary to transactional leadership. Transformational leadership focuses on communication between the different areas of a business. It can be very goal-oriented, but it pushes the responsibilities of motivating and guiding productivity onto the management rather than the leader as the very top of the hierarchy. These leaders tend to value the company as a whole rather than its individual components when it comes to decisions and goals. Transformational style is best suited for leaders who are charismatic and have an entrepreneurial streak, as these are the primary skills that they use to motivate their employees. It can be a bit manipulative, however, in case of power abuse. Both transformational and transactional leadership are considered to be contemporary styles, as they are less strict in their format and are highly adaptable to environmental changes. Next slide, please. Now we are move on to the traditional leadership theories. Traditional theory is a theory based on different traits of human beings. It assumes that leaders are born and made. According to this theory, leadership behavior is the sum total of all traits that a leader possesses. Thus, this theory gives the profile of a successful and complete leader. According to this theory, there are 5 human traits. Next slide, please. Okay, the first one is trait approach. The trait approach involves discovering how to be a leader by examining the characteristics and methods of recognized leaders. Pioneering studies were performed several years ago. However, these have been discredited to some extent by academicians. A more recent empirical study of 200 European CEOs and over 1,000 key subordinates identified 5 key leadership styles that supports these styles and their key traits. In decreasing order of impact on success factors, there are, first one is team builder, tolerant, motivational, inspirational, supportive. Second one is captain, respectful, trusting, reliable, and fair. Third is strategist and trustworthy. Number 4 is creative, innovative, visionary, courageous, inspirational, and confident. Last one is impulsive, obsessed with new ideas, curious, energetic, participative. The leadership profile of any individual is a composite of multiple styles. However, the predominance of some styles over other will influence the successful of the individual. Next slide, please. Okay, the second one is behavioral approach. The behavioral approach attempts to determine the type of leadership behaviors that lead to successful task performance and employee satisfaction. Researchers at Ohio State University performed an extensive series of leadership studies in developing this theory. Work done independently at the University of Michigan on leader behavior came to similar conclusions. Both groups of researchers showed that effective leadership depends on a proper blending of an employee relationship-centered approach to employees' needs with a production-centered approach to getting work done. Next is contingency or situational approach. The contingency or situational approach holds that there is no universal approach to leadership. Rather, effective leadership behavior depends on situational factors that may change over time. Current leadership theory is based heavily on this approach, which states that effective leadership depends on three variables: the leader, the led, and the situation. Next is a role approach. The role approach suggests that leaders perform certain roles in order to be effective. The role approach is similar to the trait and behavioral approaches, but also takes into account situational factors. Thus, according to the theory, leaders at upper levels of the organizations in large firms may frequently be called upon to play the role of figurehead or liaison person between the firm and its outside environment. At a lower level, where spans of control extend widely, motivational, coordinative, or disturbance handling roles may be needed for effective leadership. Henry Mintzberg's various texts and articles provide the basis for this approach. Next slide, please. And now we are going to describe the qualities of a good leader. Simply saying that a person is a leader doesn't necessarily mean that they are a good one. Anyone can be a leader, but there are certain traits that make some more successful than others. Certain styles of leadership and businesses may put more value on certain qualities over others, but that's based on circumstances. The following are just some of the general traits that have proven to contribute to good, strong leadership. Next slide, please. The first one is communicative. This should be a no-brainer. By this point, you should realize that good communication skills are a vital component to organizational behavior and business success. Being communicative is a hallmark of leadership, and leaders who cannot convey their guidance will cause more problems than they solve. Recognizing nonverbal cues like a body language is especially important, as many leaders frequently need to be able to read a situation rather than be dependent on things being explained to them. Next is problem-solving negotiation. Many negotiators are in positions of leadership, so many of the same traits associated with that ability are sought after in leaders. The ability to take a problem and quickly find the best solution that serves all parties involved is something that many leaders are going to be faced with on a daily basis. Leaders at any point in a business chain of command are going to be the person that conflicting staff members go to for assistance, so be ready. Next one is empathy. While some circumstances may require a more neutral emotional state and mindset, leaders will still need to be able to empathize with others. Empathy allows a person to think about who their actions will impact and what the long-term consequences are. It can be much better than a sterilized business-like approach because it prompts a person to look at all the factors involved before making a move. And since leaders often need to double as strategies, such a trait is incredibly valuable for success. That's all for me. And next slide will described by my friend Julia. Julia, it's your time.
Thank you, Felia. So the next is about the transparency and honesty. One of the first things that experts list for quality leadership is honesty. Leaders who are able to be honest with their followers transparent in their action, often follow ethical practice. As a leader, you are responsible for others, and your employees will trust you to act in their best interest. If they do not think you are to be ethical and honest, they won't want to know and follow you and do what you want them to. And the next is inspirational. Throughout society and history, leaders have been an inspirational source for many. These are the people that the public looks to when they need motivation and guidance. Business leaders need to be able to inspire their employees and themselves in order to keep things going. Inspiration can boost creativity and productivity in the workplace. And there is power in being able to generate it. And the last is confident leadership. Confident leadership is a public position in the group. You are the person that everyone looks for the guidance. You need to be sure of yourself and of your actions to be effective in that position. And people will notice if you are not confident. Leaders generate confidence in others through their own ability to be assertive and strong in their behavior. If you lack confidence or are unable to display confidence, it's going to translate to the public as a weakness. As the result, they may not respect you are as a leader. So we, in this quality of a good leader, we, as the leader, must have this quality. And next, the greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest thing. He is the one that gets the people to do the greatest thing. Ronald Reagan, former U.S. resident. Next. So we will continue to how to improve leadership skill and abilities. First one, we must know that not everyone is going to be born to be a leader or have perfect leadership skills. That doesn't mean that it isn't possible for a person to develop and strengthen their abilities as a leader. Those who are committed to improving their leadership skills should consider trying some of the following. First one is practice. You can get better at something if you only do it when it's demanded of you. Practicing can help a person improve any ability by familiarizing them with the action and detail necessary to execute that skill in real situations. Business leaders can practice their skill by using them outside of the office. Things like empathy, communication, and honesty are all things that are valued in society after all. You don't have to follow the 10-hour rule, 10,000 hours rule, which has since been debunked to become an expert. But deliberate attempt at practice can help. And the second is seek out feedback. There's no guarantee that you through your own analysis. So actively seeking out feedback from other analysis. So actively are not from others that can help your action. Right? And this is so important for you to not going easily to measure without asking others how they have been impacted. If you are encouraged feedback that they have been, you are leading, will be more trusting of you and your action. Feedback can also give you some vital information about what your strength and weakness are, and keep you from going over your personal and professional limits. Engaging, and the next slide. So the next is engaging others. Engaging with others can provide a huge boost to productivity and behavior in the office. Leaders who engage with their employees and followers tend to build more trust than those who don't, and it can help foster loyalty. By taking the time to engage with others in the business, you are giving yourself the chance to test out your skills, get feedback, and make real connection with people you are leading. And the next or the last is the role model. Leaders are the role model for many people, whether they realize it or not. Employees will look at the example set by their superiors in order to improve themselves. You want to make sure that you are setting the best example possible with your actions. Regardless, if anyone is viewing you as a role model, take the time to think about your action and think about how the things you do will translate in that position of role model. That awareness of your action can help you make improvements in your skill and abilities for the good of yourself and thus you lead. So that's all about the how to improve leadership skill and abilities. Next. So before we end our presentation, the conclusion of this presentation is effective leadership is one of the greatest fundamentals to building great organizational culture. A leader can be anyone who has influence or authority regardless of title, and leaders set to tone for organizational culture. Leaders can reinforce value while simultaneously holding people accountable. This influence over others can be either positive or negative based on the leadership style and execution of strategy, but both effective and ineffective leadership will influence and build organizational culture in the workplace. As RSM frees leadership to be deliberate in creating a culture where employees can thrive. Failing to build a strong culture is detrimental to employee and the bottom line. So that's all about our conclusion. And next, we will have the Q&A section. Does anyone have a question? If you have a question, you can just unmute your mic and tell us your question.
Hello, Julia.
So,
okay, my name is Vanessa Yen. I would like to ask a question. Under what conditions does leadership matter? Is it clear?
Under what condition? Sorry, under what condition?
Under what conditions does leadership matter?
Oh, okay. Thank you. We
Yeah,
already noted.
thank
Vanessa.
you.
Hello, Julia.
So,
Can I ask a question?
yes, of course.
Okay, so my name is Maida Swita, and I want to ask, how can leaders be helped to learn?
Pardon?
You get my question? That's it. How can leaders be helped to learn?
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Fanny, for the question. Does anyone have another question? In this section, we will open 3 questions. So this is the last question that we will open.
Hello, Julia.
Hello.
My name is Salsabila Deva. I want to ask the question. How can leadership models be reframed so they treat all system members as both leaders and followers? Is it clear, Julia?
Yes, it is clear, Salsa. Thank you for the question. So, thank you for Vanessa and Salsabila and Fanny for the question. We already read the question, and please give us time to discuss it. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, sorry for waiting. So I will try to answer the first question from Vanessa. If I'm not mistaken, Vanessa's question was, under what conditions does leadership matter? Under some conditions, of course, leaders' actions really do spell the difference between success and failure. Anyone in any leadership positions has the opportunity to make consecutive differences. For example, chief executive officers of corporations have the greatest impact when organizational opportunities are scarce, but select resources are plentiful, or on team processes, including both those built into the team's structure and those that reside in the broader context, can significantly constrain leaders' autonomy and latitude to lead. That is our answer. Is it clear enough, Vanessa, for the answer?
Yes, it was very clear. Thank you, Felia, for the answer.
Okay, thank you for asking us a question.
Okay, I will answer the question from Penny Desvita. The question is, how can leaders be helped to learn, right? So my answer is, all leaders have models that guide their action, because these models are applied gradually over time from observation, experience, and trial and error. They risk over-focusing on especially salient features of the leader situation. Thus, the behavior of another leader has observed, or especially vivid personal episodes, or the disposition of a particularly difficult boss or subordinate might become more central in a leader mental models than is actually warranted. So that's my answer. Is that clear, Fanny Deswita?
That's clear. Thank you, Delviana.
Okay, thank you for your question.
Okay, next I will try to answer the third question from Salsabila Deva. If I'm not mistaken, the question was, how can leadership models be reframed so they treat the members as both leaders and followers? So our answer is, there are a few, if any, organizational or political leaders who have unchecked authority. Each boss also is a subordinate. Even chief executives who lead entire organizations invariably report to some higher standing person or group. This reality means that people who hold all leadership positions must continuously chart a course between what essentially is a covert code, like acting as if one's own leader need not know what one is doing, and abdication means mindlessly passing on to one's subordinates whatever is received from above. Although people who occupy a leadership role certainly have more latitude to lead than do followers, one doesn't have to be in a leadership position to be in a position to provide leadership. Indeed, among the most interesting and occasionally inspiring varieties of leadership we have observed is that provided by followers, especially for followers who are unlikely ever to be selected for formal leadership positions. That is our answer. Is it clear enough, Salsabila?
That's enough, Felia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for asking us the question. So that is the Q&A section. And now we will move on to the question for the audience. So we have 3 questions for the audience. Those who want to try to answer our question, please unmute your mic and say your name and please try to answer it. Thank you.
Hello, Felia.
Hello.
Leadership is the ability to lead and guide a team, motivating and inspiring individuals to get them to where they need to be. That is my answer.
Sorry, Normalia, can you try to answer it again because before your voice is not clear?
Oh, okay. I want to answer the question number 2.
Okay, please.
So my answer is leadership is the ability to lead and guide a team, motivating and inspiring individuals to get them to where they need to be. That's all, Felia.
Okay, good answer. Thank you, Normalia.
Thank you.
Anyone else to try answer the question?
Hello,
Hello,
Felia.
Felia.
Hello.
Sylvia first.
Oh, okay, I will go first. So I want to try to answer the first question based on you've explained before. I know that the differences between leader and manager are a leader deals with the change where the manager plans for a change. And the second one is a leader gives direction to do something where the managers plan for everything that is to be done. And the last is a leader encourage people where the manager controls people. I think that's my answer.
Okay, what a great answer. Thank you, Sylvia.
Hello, Felia. I want to answer the last question.
Yes, please.
Question is mention 5 styles of leadership that are found in organizational behavior and business. And my answer is first is autocratic and then laissez-faire. The third is transactional. 4 is participative, and the last one is transformational. That is my answer.
Okay, thank you, Tiffany, for answer. Okay, so maybe that's all for our presentation tonight. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, sir, for the time for our presentation, and see you guys in another occasion. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Okay, so all of you have watched the previous group talking about leadership, yeah, and we continue our discussion. So there's no, I have appointed 10 students, yeah. Now, so after you listen to your friend's presentation, so you must give the comment and then continue commenting, yeah. Okay, I please to Desi Eka Sanjaya, what is your comment to your friend's presentation and your opinion about leadership? Desi, are you in, Desi? Oh no. Okay, please next. Adelia Putriadiko.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what is your comment about your friend presentation and then your opinion? What you know something about leadership?
Oh yeah. Firstly, I would like to say thank you for the presenter today. It was a good explanation for and then good presentation. So what I get from their presentation is leadership has an important role, very very important role in some organization or in workplace. So for some company has to choose the leader with wisely because she or he need to guide the workers of or employees for a certain job or work. I think that's all from me, sir.
Kevin Nathanael, the same question. Kevin Nathanael, are you in?
Okay, hello, sir. Okay, first I would like to say thank you to the presenter for the great presentations, and for our discussions tonight, I get so many insight and so many knowledge, such as I can know what the meaning of leadership and how leadership is important for a company. And what I know leadership is about developing people and helping others reach their full potential. And it's about equipping others with the right tools and strategies, not only to maximize the success of an organizations, but also the lives of the individuals itself. And not only that, I can know about the 5 types of leaderships that are authoritarian leaderships, and also the advantage and disadvantage, also the participative leadership, the delegative leaderships, and transactional leadership, and transformational leadership. And in my opinion, leadership is very important thing that people must have either in the company or in his life to achieve or to optimize the and to achieve the organizational goals. That's all. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Dewi Winarni, the same question.
Yes, sir.
Please.
I think that, in my opinion, leadership is an important role for the company to achieve the goals. The presentation is very detailed. I know what the role of leadership, the type of leadership, and also I know about
Something wrong with your network? Okay. Okay, please, Sylvia Dwiarini. The same question, Sylvia.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Today, I learned a lot of things of the leadership. First, I want to say thank you very much for Felia's group who delivers such a nice presentations. And what I know about leadership is an ability that contained within a person to be able to influence the other person or guide the certain parties to achieve the organizational goals. And it is obviously, this is very important for us, especially who learn about the management and business, because in the future job, we will be a manager someday. And from the presentations, I've got a lot of things. The first is the definition of the leadership, the differences between leader and manager, and much more about the leadership theory. And I think that's all for me, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are you Andika?
Okay. Okay, good evening, and thank you for the presenter. I got a lot of information about leadership, not just the different style of leadership that has been questioned by Ms. Hadi, but there is also leadership theory, traditional, and then quality of what make quality of good leader and how to improve leadership skill. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Octavia?
So good evening, sir, and good evening, everyone. I want to say thank you for the presenter. It was a good presentation for today, and so I learned so many things about leadership for today, especially the type of leadership. So leadership is important for some of company or organization that it use to reach the goal. So each of the leadership types have their own characteristic, and it is different ways from leader to lead the members of the organization to reach the goals. Of course, each of the types have the advantages and disadvantages. Depends on the types and how the leader react to the members and control. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anjan Yuando?
Yes, sir. Okay, good evening, sir, and everyone. I want to say thank you to the presenter. And what I got from this lesson is the different about leader and manager, and how the leadership is so important for our life or the company, because with the good leader, we can improve the company or the employee. And what the leadership style and how to be a good leader or qualities of a good leader. That is all I got from this present today. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you're welcome. Ya, Samura.
Okay, so good evening, sir, and good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to say thank you for a good and clear explanation about leadership. So from today's class, I really have a new experience learning about leadership, like what is the difference between leader and manager, where they explain that leader is someone who people follow or someone who guides or direct others, while manager is only someone who is responsible for directing and controlling the work and stuff in an organization. So, and then from that, I also learned about leadership styles, and then the theories of traditional leadership, and then also the qualities of a good leader, and also how to improve leadership skills and abilities. That's all. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Tata. No, Steffi Laurencia.
Okay, firstly, I would like to say thank you for the presenters today, Group 11, Delphi, Felia, and Julia. I got new knowledge and many insight about Chapter 12, about leadership. From the presentation, I know that there are so many differences between leader and manager. One of the differences is leader cannot be a manager, while a manager can be a leader and more than a leader. There's also 5 styles in leadership. There are first, authoritarian leadership, participative leadership, delegative leadership, transactional leadership, and last is transformational leadership. When we want to be a good leader, we must be communicative, have good problem solving and negotiation, empathy, transparency, and honesty, being inspirational, and have confident leadership. I think that's all from me. Thank you and good night, everyone.
Muhammad Araji Bagaswara.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, and thank you, the presenter today. Leadership is very important because with good leadership, you can create a vision and can motivate people to make it a reality. And a good leader can inspire everyone in an organization to achieve their very best. So leadership need to attract, inspire, and ultimately retain as much talent as possible. I think that's all, sir.
Okay, cek lainnya.
Hello, good evening, everyone. And good evening, Sir Adi. So today I learned about leadership, and leadership is the ability of an individual or a group of individuals to influence and guide followers or other members of an organization. That's all, sir. Thank you.
Desi Kasanjaya. Desi Eka Sanjaya. Are you in?
Okay, hello sir, hello everyone, good evening. So in today's lesson, I learned a lot and I realized that leadership skills is very important, and I just know that actually leadership skills, there are many types of them, and I learned to know a lot more about these leadership skills. And I believe that these skills is very important for us because all of us needs to have these kinds of skills in order to excel in everything in the working environment, right? So I hope that in the future, these skills can actually be boosted in our confidence and be boosted in our life as well. And I hope that these lessons can give us more benefits in the future. Thank you.
Okay. Elisa Febianti. Nita Disapitri.
Nita have a bad connection, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think so. I think it's time for me to say goodnight, yeah, because this it's after 8, yeah. So 8 stop, yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for your coming to Zoom, and see you later next week, yeah. Maybe next week we can we look at permission, because next week I want to go to Singkawang. Whether we start in the morning at 10 or in the evening, I will tell you later, yeah. So thank you very much. See you later. Keep your health. See you later next week. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Sir, see you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.